My name's Kirby Kral, and I just have a few questions. My first question centers around the constitutionality of this. I don't know very much about the Constitution at all, but if I'm not mistaken, Congress has the power to regulate interstate commerce, and I'm kind of wondering, what is the definition of the word to regulate? Doesn't it mean to keep regular? And the word to keep regular, how do you keep something regular if you're constantly interfering in the system?
This is, by the way, this is a deputy counsel. Where's the counsel? Deputy counsel, there he is. Just have a meeting after.
So my
Probably gonna need a little malpractice insurance, guys, but we'll see what we do. Go ahead.
My question is to Congress, what part of laissez-faire do you not understand? Let the system alone.
Not a big proponent of French as the official language of government, but anyway, let's move on.
My next question is, wasn't there a recent poll taken? I'm not sure how long ago it was, maybe a couple months ago. A bunch of doctors were asked what would they would do if this bill passed. I believe 40% of them would leave the profession. So I'm wondering, if we have 30 million people who are going to become insured if this bill passes, and 40% of the doctors leave the profession, does it even need to be said?
He's also the math coordinator for the staff. Okay? Am I answering these questions, or am I just a straight man here?
We're sort of rhetorical.
Okay, all right. I just want to check. I don't know whether I'm Conan or Jay Leno or what I am. Go ahead, I'm with you. I'm here. I paid for the mic, so eventually it's going to...
My last point is that I'm not opposed to, how do I say this, universal health care so much, but I'm opposed to this bill. The reason I'm opposed to this bill is because it will enact broad sweeping legislation on all 50 states, and that is wrong. And I'm not opposed to universal health care in the sense that if individual states want it, they should be allowed to have it. If individual states want to vote on it, let them have it. But to have this broad sweeping legislation pass, and when it fails, and it will fail.
Well, at least we came around to a point of disagreement. Go ahead.
All right.
That's good.
When it fails, how are we going to repeal it? Because I heard that this legislation is going to be very hard to repeal. And I'm not mistaken, Harry Reid did some sort of magic to it.
Yeah, that's...
Due to precedent.
Right. Okay. Is that it?
Last but not least,
okay.
The last point is that President Obama, I would like to quote to you one of my favorite lines from Home Alone. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
I forgot all the other questions or comments. I think I blacked out there for a minute. I know I had some good one-liners. I do think, one thing I disagree with you on is, one of the problems with, candidly, falling for the idea that let each state opt in, is we all pay for it. So we all pay for it. So when they say, well, each state opt in, well, if we opt out, we're still going to pay our federal taxes, which is going to have to pay for California opting in. And so I actually agree with, I thought you were going to go to a different point, which I think everybody in this room, and I really think that Congressman Carnahan, his staff, everybody needs to understand, in history, especially the history of our country, the centralization of power that's occurred in the last about year and a few months is unprecedented. Yeah. It's all in Washington, D.C. It's military, it's financial, in some sense it's media. It's a terrifying centralization of power in the sense that a few people control and are influence the way things go. I mean, so one of the things that's, the internet's great and technology, but in this case, it's actually worked to sort of centralize power. I mean, 25 or 30 years ago, you would have said, well, Detroit's a center of power. It's not anymore. You would have said that New York 2 years ago was a center of power. It's not. New York came to D.C. on its knees and left, they're still getting pulled back in, and I mean, it's kind of, New York should know better. You make a deal with with somebody, and so, and militarily after 1989, despite what anybody says, we're the world's greatest military force in history, centralized in Washington D.C. With incredible power. So that's a terrifying. That should be a very sobering thing, and the prospects of abuse should be quite terrifying to you. And it should be. And it's not just if they take over, some dramatic seizure or anything. That's actually not. That's not the point. The point is that if you talk to business owners, if you talk to people that are starting businesses or starting out, the blanket of regulatory and other influences on our people coming from a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. is as heavy as it's ever been. And you could say, this blanket is too heavy, and you'd call your alderman, or you'd call your congressman. And now you're not getting the help because the power is from some bureaucrat that's not elected.